Hey everyone, Lifelong Learner Blueroot here with episode 4 of the Azure AZ-104 exam prep series, Managing Azure Resources by Using the Azure Portal. Thanks for tuning in. I would just like to give you a heads up that this episode, episode 5, episode 6, and also episode 7 will all pertain to Azure Resource Management, but with different methods. What I mean by that is that in this episode, episode 4, we will be managing Azure resources by using the Azure Portal. And then in episode 5, we'll be managing those resources with ARM templates. Episode 6, we'll be managing those resources with Azure PowerShell. And then in episode 7, we will be using Azure CLI. Using the Azure portal, the objectives that we will accomplish in this video are to create resource groups and deploy resources to these resource groups, move resources between resource groups, and implement and test resource locks. So let's get right into it. If you're preparing for the 104 exam, it's assumed that you know what resource groups are and how to create them. In case you don't or just need a refresher, resource groups are essentially logical containers that hold related resources for an Azure solution. A resource group could include all the resources for that solution, or only those that you want to manage as a group. Whenever you create a resource in Azure, whether it's a virtual machine or a storage account, it has to be in a resource group. With that said, let's quickly create a resource group and create a resource in it. Search for resource group, click add, and just give it a name. And for the region, just click the region that works best for you. Let's now quickly create a resource for this new resource group. I'll just create a disk. Assign it to the resource group you just created. Give it a name. Ensure the region matches with the resource group. You can leave availability zone and source type to none, and let's change the size to the absolute cheapest size because it does not matter, as this is just for test purposes. So standard HDD works, and let's go with the smallest size, 32 gigs. This could just take a minute. Let's create another resource group and move the disk resource we just created to this new resource group. We're going to create this resource group in a different way though, and just get it all done in one shot. Let's visit the resource group we just created and click on the resource we just created. Under Move, let's click Move to another resource group. At the bottom here, there is an option to simply create a new resource group. Type in the name, click this checkbox, and click OK. This should take about a minute or two. After that's done, confirm that your resource was moved over to the new resource group. So under the old resource group, we can confirm that there are no resources here. And under the new one, we could expect our disk. And here it is. We're now going to apply a resource lock to an Azure resource group containing a disk resource. Resource locks provide a way for Azure administrators to lock down Azure resources to prevent deletion or changing of a resource. These locks sit outside of the role-based access controls hierarchy, and when applied, will place the restriction on the resource for all users. Let's hop over to the resource group that has the disk resource in it. On the left, under Settings, click Locks. Now click Add, and enter some information pertaining to your lock. I'll enter And under lock type, you have two different types to choose from. I'm going to click delete. The delete lock type will ensure that authorized users will only be able to read and modify the resources in this resource group, but not allowed to delete any resources. Whereas the read-only lock type ensures that authorized users will only be able to read the resources in the resource group and not modify or delete. With the new resource lock in place, let's try to delete the resource. We are greeted with an error. Of course, this is expected due to the delete lock applied on the resource group level. Additionally, since the lock in place was a delete lock, we would still be able to modify the resource. And that's the end of episode 4. If you followed this video, you have created resource groups and deployed resources to these resource groups, moved resources between these groups, and implemented and tested resource locks. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video or if it helped you even in the slightest, please like and maybe subscribe for future content. Additionally, if you have any suggestions or questions, please leave a comment down below and I'll be happy to help out any possible way I can. I'll see you guys in episode 5, where we will manage Azure resources by using ARM templates. Peace!